Today, we're going to focus, obviously this is a lead generation and conversion coaching call, and welcome everybody. We got some new faces on the call today, and I'm happy you're here, and I hope that you get a lot out of this call, so much so that you join us every week. We do this every week, and I've been doing this every week, every Tuesday. I don't know, Blake, more than 2 years now. I'm not quite sure, but it's been a while. So hopefully at the end of this call, you're like, holy crap, where have I been? Like, why am I just now tuning in? But we do go back a lot, because we got to keep going back, and we got to keep like pounding that rock, because only a small percentage of what we talk about today will actually be retained. And everybody like advances at different paces, and, everybody's got a different learning curve. So I get that. But the way that we can really blow this out of the water is to not only collaborate on these calls and ask questions. And I get it. You don't want to be the one that asks the dumb question on the call, but there are no dumb questions. Okay. Some agents that join us or watch these replays have never posted on social at all, like ever. So everybody's at a different stage of the game. So don't worry about it. And I want you to think about this too. When we ask questions and we create that collaboration, a lot of times we might be answering a question for an agent they didn't even know that they had. Okay. So there's a lot of power in group coaching. All right. So Jared James is, says this a lot. I'm a Jared James coach, Jared James Coaching Organization. And he's very famous for saying the smartest person in the room is the room. Okay. So that's why the group coaching has an opportunity to be more powerful than the one-on-one. Now, that being said, a lot of times we need to go from this group setting to a one-on-one setting so that we can go deeper and actually address your specific needs and misunderstandings and, educational opportunities that we need to really do a deep dive on. We can identify those here, and then we can go one-on-one and go deeper in that. So everybody should know, quick access to my schedule is deanofhustle.com. If you don't know that, write it down, put it somewhere where you'll have it. You can access my schedule immediately by going to deanofhustle.com, and I do my coaching on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Okay. If you do not see a space in there and you need time, just text me. Okay. All right. So today we're talking about the listing checklist, the listing marketing checklist. And what I have found, okay, is that the majority of agents, the vast majority of agents, when they take a listing, like they put all their eggs in that basket. Okay. So my sole responsibility is to sell this listing for my seller. And that is not false. That is true. Okay. But what we need to understand is the highly leveraged opportunity that taking a listing presents in order to use that listing to create additional opportunities. Okay. To create additional buying and selling opportunities, to bring leads into our KB Core, our Boomtown, our Commissions Inc., our Brevity, whatever software command, whatever we're using, we want to bring people in. This is how that sales funnel gets created, okay? Is that it is the hub, the relationship hub of our real estate business, okay? It is where we put everybody in, okay? So let me first say this, all right? CRM, these website technology companies, they did not invent this software to generate leads, to generate internet leads. Okay. This software was initially invented so that real estate agents could actually get more business, more opportunities from their sphere of influence. Okay, because you don't have everybody organized. You don't have, we don't typically, unless you have like, you're one of these like photographic memory people, like you can't remember the names, phone numbers, email addresses, addresses of everybody that knows, like, and trusts you. And you can't stay organized and go, oh yeah, I've called everybody that likes and trusts me once a quarter. I'm just managing all that from my brain. Okay. So although the human brain is a very powerful muscle, we can only harness a small percentage of its capacity. I don't know why that is. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we need technology to help us stay consistent. Okay. So we need to make sure we stay top of mind with people that know, like, and trust us. The very basic premise behind how to establish that is to have a conversation with them at least 4 times a year. Okay. That's why the CRM was invented, so that you can open it up, and you guys should get in the practice of starting your day 8, 9 a.m. Whenever it starts, open it up and let the CRM tell you what you need to do that day. Okay. It tells you whose birthday it is, whose anniversary it is. Now you got to plug all this information in, but once you get it plugged in, it's plug and play. Okay. So we need to find out as much as we can about these people. I'm talking about their favorite box of movie candy, their favorite live music acts, their favorite restaurants in town, their favorite color, their favorite flower. I mean, all their favorite stuff, and enter all that data into the CRM, so that when we see that, maybe they've had, sadly, a death in the family, we just don't send them a random bouquet. We send them their favorite flower, a bouquet of their favorite flower, their favorite plant, whatever it is. We know what their favorite is. We see their favorite bands coming to town. We just buy 2 tickets on Ticketmaster through the app, and we send those tickets to them. Go, hey, hope you guys have a great time. Okay, that is powerful. All right, so action, benefit, commitment. In order to get real estate agents to do anything, all right, we need to identify the benefit that is going to come from the action. In order to create commitment, we need to identify the benefit, the ROI that is going to result from taking this action. Okay. Real estate agents aren't going to typically do things or believe in things without seeing that they are fruitful. Okay. So let's I think this is a very powerful benefit. Okay. If I were to throw this out there and say, if you guys got very committed, I would even say this: if you guys got obsessed with your CRM, okay, so let's just use Boomtown. Most of us on this call are using Boomtown. Okay. I find that agents don't go through the training modules. Listen, one of our agents, one of our JWRE agents messaged me last week. And she didn't even know she has been on our roster for a while, but she was with us through the transition from KV Core to Boomtown, which happened on January 1st. She hasn't logged into Boomtown since then. Okay. The only thing that was prompting her to log into Boomtown was that she had a buyer or a member of her sphere of influence either was directly or indirectly interested in a property in Mobile County, Alabama. Okay. And that's one of the beautiful things about our website, is it allows us to have access to these properties in other markets. You guys need to be letting everybody know. Anybody that I see that registers on my Boomtown with a 205 number, I did this yesterday. I let them know they had they registered on my website to buy something at the beach. But they had a 205 number. So message them, hey, everything okay? Everything, oh, I know what it was. This is a lead she's looking for her dad. So her dad wants to retire to Sailboat Bay. It's a active adult little community in Lillian, Alabama. And she lives up here. He's down there, or wants to move down there. And so I said, hey, just want to let you know, my real estate team works the majority of the state, from Huntsville all the way through the Florida Panhandle. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you let me know that, because we have some property in North Alabama that we're looking to sell here pretty soon. Okay. But here's the benefit I wanted to map out is that if I told you that if you got obsessed with Boomtown, that your business would double in 6 months or less, would that be enough of a benefit for you to get really serious about Boomtown? I'm talking about going through all the trainings that are in the training hub. And if you guys want to know how to access this, access that on Boomtown, it's the far left-hand column all the way down. Just click on, what is it, tools or support? Can't remember. And you'll see the training tab. Click on that. So I'm talking about watching all the on-demand stuff, and then also continuing to register on the new webinars that are coming out talking about new features. Okay, because that's whatever website company you're with, they're always innovating. Okay, so you always got to stay on top of what's going on. But with doubling your business, like if you're making 200,000, would you be opposed? $200,000 a year, would you be opposed to making 400,000? So I am big, and I say a lot on these calls to follow the data. Okay, and we spend a lot of money for our memberships to local MLSs, to the National Association of Realtors. The National Association of Realtors in particular does a ton of research on this. Okay, and the National Association of Realtors has identified the CRM as the real estate agent's most important tool. But I could break a lot of BALLS on this call right now if I start quizzing people. I start calling you out right now on, hey, do you know how to do this with Boomtown? Hey, you know this? Did you know you could do this? And I would get a lot of, I don't know. I didn't know that. I'm so glad you done it. Why don't you know that? Okay. Now, I say that to say this. I was a huge reinvent the wheel guy. I was going to figure out a way, when I got my real estate license, I was going to figure out a way to bypass all of you suckers, okay, that are trying to do it this old, antiquated way. I was going to figure out this new and innovative way, and I was going to be like the superhero real estate agent of the entire universe, okay? And that went on for a very long time, way longer than it should have. Upwards of 4 years before I became a learning-based agent and just started following the research and following the data. So if NAR tells you the most important tool for you to mastering the functionality of it is your CRM, and we get off this call and you don't make that an intention, something wrong with you, okay? You need to go see somebody about that, right? Because whether, and I hear this all the time, the agents that are making the 200,000 go, I'm making a very comfortable living, and I don't need to make 400,000. I don't need to double my business. You know, that's their prerogative. But I would say this, a lot of times it is not their prerogative. It is an excuse, because mastering your CRM a lot of times is going to lead you to places that are outside your comfort zone. It's going to lead you to places where you're going to have to call leads, and that's uncomfortable, right? I get it. It's going to lead you to places where you're going to need to create content. This is what the whole listing checklist is about, creating content that drives leads into our sales funnel. Okay, but it also does a lot of other things. It also checks a lot of other boxes, because think about this. All right, so agents will say, well, this listing marketing checklist does me no good because I have no listings, and I have no listings coming up. Okay, fine. I don't either, but I know agents that have listings, and I know agents that have listings coming up, and I know the majority of those agents don't have a listing marketing checklist, don't have a YouTube channel, okay, don't know how to blog, never blog, don't even know why you would blog, that would be glad for me to do those things for them, okay? And I sell it to them. Like, this is a strong value proposition for your seller that you don't even have to pay for. You don't have to do any of the sweat equity. I'm doing all of it. I'm doing the work, the legwork, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Okay, so why are you doing this? Well, I hope to earn the co-op commission. I hope to earn that 2.5 or 3% that you're offering. That's why I'm doing it. But I'm also know that I'm creating a 24/7 free sales force. Technology can be, when you harness it, when you deploy it on a consistent basis, and that what you're deploying is valuable, authentic, and you're doing it on a consistent basis, it is going to become a 24/7 sales force for you. It is going to build rapport with people that you've never met yet. Okay. It is going to build your notoriety. And make no mistake, I say this on these calls all the time. For better or worse, the real estate industry has become a celebrity-based business. Okay. And so the more well-known you are, the more real estate you're going to sell. It's just a fact. And I believe it's for better than for worse. As somebody who's been in the real estate industry so long, like I didn't get in before MLS, but it's pretty close. When I got in, people still had pagers and people were still using like note card, Rolodex deals or recipe holders as databases and all that stuff. And I've just seen the evolution of this to where this is a great example. So there's a company called MLS Mailings Direct that is a really easy and cost-effective way for you to do just listed, just sold postcards. So they'll send 100 in like a 1 mile radius of your listing for, I don't know, 60, 70 something bucks. So I could either do that. I can spend the money to reach 100 people, or I can create content for free and reach 3,000. I mean, just follow the data. The path is math. Just follow it. People are doing all this math for us. They're crunching the numbers, crunching the data for us. All we literally have to do is follow it. Okay. So imagine that you're a coach on a football team going into the Super Bowl. Okay. Having a game plan is really important. Okay. Executing, running the plays that actually work, that gain yards and create points on the board, really important. All right. And this is another distinction I make a ton, whether I'm doing live or virtual trainings, is that we need to adopt the mindset of sales athletes. Sales athletes. Okay. Because professional athletes spend a lot more time preparing for the touchdown than actually scoring the touchdown. Okay. Yet when we go to the real estate industry and we start looking at the sales athletes, we see very little preparation. We see sales agents clock in only when opportunities present themselves. And we know when we clock in and we start preparing, the instant an opportunity presents itself, that a lot of the times we're going to miss that opportunity. It's going to be too late. It's too late to prepare. Okay. You get it? All right. So the process too, by which of mastering your CRM and mastering the listing checklist, is another way to create enlightenment. To create enlightenment on how to create and maintain a pipeline that feeds you 365 days out of the year. All right. And when we do that, what does that do? That creates predictability in an industry that is wrought with uncertainty. And that's why I have mad respect for real estate agents, especially the ones that get on these calls or that are just learning based. Because you can get all this information, whether you want to be on these live calls or whether you want to go to YouTube, it's all out there. That's another thing I love about the industry, is how much we give back to each other, because we all know what it feels like to be scared as hell, broke as a joke, not knowing how we're going to make our car payment, our mortgage payment, and having somebody mentor us and get us into a place of momentum in our business, and to feel that pressure and that anxiety just kind of melt away. Oh my God. And that's my story, y'all. That's why I'm doing this right now. I got something else I'd rather be doing right now. Okay. But I have a responsibility. I have a duty to do this on a consistent basis because somebody did it for me. And if they didn't do it for me, I wouldn't have the life I want to have today. Okay. And that brings me to another talking point, and then we're going to take a break and see, just going to pause for questions. So you got about maybe 5 minutes or less to come up with a question that you'd like to ask. But I see one of the biggest issues I see in the real estate industry right now is that, and you're being taught to conduct yourself in this manner. You're being taught, you're being trained to be salespeople. But I firmly believe, and this is the TikTok video I did this morning, if anybody saw that by chance, is that when we got that piece of paper at the testing site that said we passed the real estate salesperson exam, we became a business owner in that instant. A lot of agents are of the belief that in that moment, they became a real estate salesperson. Okay. There's a big difference in mindset between a real estate salesperson and a real estate business owner in terms of what you own and what you feel responsible for. All right. Now, for you to master your CRM and for you to master the listing marketing checklist, those are things that business owners do. Business owners have systems. They have processes. They're continual learners. They know that the more they learn, the more they're going to earn. Okay. Now just think about, do some reflection right now or after this call or this evening, and ask yourself, how have you been conducting yourself as a salesperson or a business owner? Business owner is that sales athlete who is more focused on the preparation, preparing for the moment when it comes, as opposed to waiting for the opportunity or that moment to come and then preparing. All right. So we're just waiting for somebody to go, a friend go, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house, this fall. All right, then I'm going to clock in. I'm going to start doing some stuff. Instead of continually studying the data, continually learning how to get more views, get people viewing more minutes of our content, get people engaging more with our content, mastering YouTube, mastering blogging, just getting deeper into mastery on all the things on this checklist and all the functionalities of our CRM. That's what a business owner does. Okay. That's what a business owner does. All right. And by doing that, we create a 365-day pipeline that's feeding us throughout the year. And think about that. This is another sad thing. Got 2 minutes to get this out. But most real estate agents are primarily second and third quarter agents. This is where the bulk of their work happens, in those 2 quarters. And the reason that is because that they worked so hard second and third quarter that they feel like they've earned the right to coast through fourth quarter. All right. And that is kryptonite to your real estate business, because how we finish determines how we start. And you may have heard this somewhere: finish strong. All right. So we don't finish strong, we finish weak, and we start weak. So our momentum dies in the fall and through Christmas. After the first of the year, as soon as our hangover wears off, then we get back on that real estate treadmill and start pumping and getting our business back into momentum. And then we don't experience that momentum until second and third quarter. And then, exhausted, pump the brakes. Let's enjoy football and holiday gatherings, maybe travel. Take it easy. God, we earned it. And what is the other, I think, detriment that we may not be identifying here is that that is a cycle that creates burnout. Okay, instead of just being consistently busy and maintaining a consistent pace, you know, this is a marathon, not a race. Okay, and anytime we sprint, we're going to get burnt out. So I don't know. I think I made some valid points here, like having a predictable business, you know, predictable income, not having to worry about where or how a bill is going to get paid. And then the other benefit here that a lot of us don't think about is once we master this, then we have really valuable assets to grow our business in the form of an AKA real estate team. Start building people around us because they are it like your expertise is like a magnet. So many agents are feast or famine and they're on that roller coaster. All right, it's 11:30. Any questions?
Is there a level of that? Like, I guess more or less just I'm thinking of myself in this regard to like, I don't know, like constantly creating leads. So I don't know how to word this. Like, it's hard when you have like 10,000 leads, let's just say, or
Yeah.
5,000. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm just saying I'm listening.
I was saying like the balance. When I agree 100%. I tell them all the time, you got to be less transactional, like I was, but then defend myself. I'm like, how can you be relational with that many people?
Okay. Yeah, I think I understand. So
Truly relational.
right. So
Yeah, like
you will hear this that your business will grow to the extent that your database does, right? So the larger the database, the more the opportunities, right? But we need to adjust that because if I'm a single agent and I have no desire to build a team, okay? I don't even want to deal, I don't like dealing with people that much to the extent where like all my assistants are virtual. Like I don't even want to see them. I know that you can have a, let's say a $75,000 a year to $150,000 a year earnings from a database that's 300 people.
yeah.
Okay. So it's going to depend on what our goals are, what our objectives are, where we want to go. I'm of the mindset that bigger is always better. I mean, why do we want to put a ceiling on our own achievement? That's one of the reasons why I got in this business. I was like, wow, like I am the person that's responsible for the ceiling. Like I determine what my own benchmarks are. Nobody else does. Wow, I want some of that. Like that's the industry I want. The trade-off is obviously that it's 100% commission, which really sucks. It kept me from getting into the industry, honestly, for a couple of years. So how many people you can handle, but the database is something that is constantly nurtured and managed, which means some people are going to need to come out and some people are going to need to come in. All right, once you're in, it doesn't mean you're automatically in for life. Okay. So if somebody is, you know, rude or we don't jive with them that much, you know, as our database grows, then we have the luxury of going, hey, I don't have to put up with your crap anymore. Whoop. Bye. Okay. So that's what you need to be doing. The other thing is that when leads start falling through the cracks, when we start calling people on a quarterly basis, let's say, we just start staying in very consistent communication with people. And we hear things like, oh my gosh, forgive me, but we've lost touch and I forgot you're in real estate. And I listed with somebody, a coworker who's a part-time agent to sell my home. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What's happened there? All right. Our business may have reached a point where we can't handle everything ourselves. And so we need to bring on people. Okay. And it's such a valuable team building is such a valuable pursuit because it allows us, okay, to invest in others, to pay it forward, but to build a highly profitable business beyond our wildest dreams while being an asset to others, like helping others buy their first home, buy a new car, go on that Disney vacation, finally take that honeymoon they weren't able to afford to take when they got married. Any other questions? All right. So I was an agent through the crash of 2008. Okay. And I don't think anybody else on this call was an agent back then, but it was brutal. Okay. We didn't take 6-month listing agreements in those days. We took 12 months. And a lot of times, 12 months wasn't even long enough. Okay. It may take a year and a half, 2 years to get a property sold. And that's after like brutally deep price reductions to the point where the seller has to bring money to closing, all that stuff. So it was very similar, which I know this will resonate with everybody. It was very similar to the COVID market on the buying side. And you guys probably heard this from agents, like I'm done working with buyers until this market shifts. I just can't take this crap anymore. 10 offers, 10 rejections to get one acceptance. I don't have the energy for it. A lot of burnout on the buyer side. Same thing in 08, 09, and early 2010. Well, really through 2010, because once things started to kind of ease from the crash, then we had the oil spill that just, for those of us that are on the coast, just came and just wiped us completely out. I was way more scared during that season than I was the 08 crash, because literally the phone just stopped ringing. Everybody thought, that the Alabama Gulf Coast was going to be a toxic waste dump for the rest of our existence. So it was scary, but I still tried to take listings. Even though it was a pain in the butt, even though they probably weren't going to sell, even though the sellers were going to hate me and all that stuff. And I wanted to do it because nobody else was doing it. And as Blake knows, that's another way we can follow the data. Okay. If everybody's jumping on this bandwagon, everybody's going, left, we go right. They go right, we go left. We're just constantly shifting what we're doing. And that's going to help us with the top of mind awareness and help us maintain an edge over our competition. But I wanted to use it as a research project, an educational opportunity to really grow into a deeper understanding of what sellers know and understand about the real estate process, about the real estate marketing process. Think about this. I know everybody's been in the business long enough to understand this, is that people don't respect our compensation. We're overpaid. This is the vast belief of the majority of our consumers, is that we're not just overpaid, we're grossly overpaid. And we're lazy, and we're bad communicators, and we're all this stuff, right? So I want to understand, I just wanted to understand the mindset of the seller. And what I found was there was a lot of common denominators, okay? One of the biggest aha moments I had was self-discovering just how much sellers want to be involved in the marketing process, and just how much we deny them that luxury, that opportunity. Okay. So let's think about this, especially when we're working with sellers that have been in the house 25 years. They raised their kids there. All these milestones over those decades happen in this dwelling. It's just a very special place. Okay. We're sitting across the table from the most qualified salesperson for that property, for that commodity, let's say. All right. They're the most qualified. The sellers are the most qualified people to sell a piece of real estate because they know it better than anybody typically. Okay. Now we know for liability reasons that it's a very bad idea for people to sell their own properties. And if we have marketing expertise, like I'm hoping to develop with this listing marketing checklist, we just have skills that they don't have. Okay. We have skills, we have expertise they don't have. But what we need to do is pull all that information from their brains into our brains. All right. So here are the benefit. Going back to action, benefit, commitment. I'm going to lay out the benefit. So hopefully a stinking light bulb goes off and we actually start executing here. Okay, so what are the benefits of taking the seller questionnaire, which if you don't have, I'm happy to get it to you, and it's easy to find. But if you're not very resourceful and you need me to provide it to you, I will. But the benefit of interviewing, and I'm really a proponent of getting face-to-face with people and actually doing this, because here's one of the benefits. Doing it during the listing presentation. At the end of the listing presentation, just asking them if they have, I mean, literally, we want to keep the listing presentations like an hour. But think about this. Think about how many agents and how many people are on the call going, what the hell am I going to talk about for an hour? And a lot of times, we're doing too much talking. You don't talk your way to the sale. You listen your way to the sale. Okay? Now you ask, in order to be able to be a great listener, you got to first ask great questions. Okay? So talk about yourself way less and talk about them way more. So maybe we talk about price. That's the most important thing to a seller and how we determine price. Maybe we talk about marketing. I've got 5 marketing buckets that I focus on during a listing presentation. Here's something for free. I'm going to put it in the chat. If you'd like to watch my listing presentation, a condensed version of it anyway, go to jasonwillsellit.com and you can watch that. Okay. So I can tell you this, all right, we're talking about action benefit commitment here of why to master the listing marketing checklist. We can absolutely use this to win the listing when we're in competition for the listing. What other agent is going to listen more than they talk during a listing presentation? Most of them are going in there. Most of us are going there going, I'm this ranking, this, and I sold this is my this. All right, so anybody can do that. I mean, most agents come into a listing presentation with the same 25-point marketing checklist that they printed online that their franchise or their brokerage provided, or they pulled it off a line somewhere they found it. All right, but this is going to allow you to grow really deep into relationship with these people, establish a really firm connection. Okay, and then it's going to tell them that you're thoughtful, that you care about them, that you listen to them, that their experience in this home was important, that you're like what Blake said, you're a relational agent versus a transactional agent. So if you just want to leave with the listing paperwork signed, what does that tell the people you're working for? That you care about them or you just care about the commission? Like what's the order of priority here? And I'm going to go back to this talking point of following the data again. Okay, so we're going against the grain when we don't follow the data. Okay, so real estate is a relationship business. Okay, so when you approach it from a transactional perspective, you're going against the grain. You're swimming upstream. You're making this industry more difficult than it has to be. All right, but I'm telling you, unequivocally, this is happening. Sellers are reading your listing remarks and going, oh, they didn't mention some of the cool features that I think would really resonate with people. So not only can we use this to increase our conversion rate on the amount of listings we take per listing appointment, we're going to grow deeper into relationship with our sellers. We're going to present ourselves as unique, as different. Agents want to be different. So they want to stand out so bad. It's like there's so much pressure on us because this has become such a celebrity-based industry, because all the good stuff, all the good ideas, all the quirky, innovative stuff's already been taken. All the good domains are taken. It's impossible to be different with all these agents coming into the market, flooding our industry, right? Well, the way that you're different is you answer your stinking phone. The way that you're different is you start your day with market research. The way that you're different is that you listen your way to the sale more than you talk your way there. See what I'm saying here? Okay. All right. So I know for a fact that the emotional connection our sellers have with their property they're selling, there's a very strong possibility that's going to resonate with somebody else. It's going to resonate with the new buyer, the new owner of that property. Okay. But I also understand that having to sit down and come up with like really unique and in-depth talking points in our listing description is a big pain in the butt. And it's hard to be, fresh and unique once you start taking a lot of listings. We joke a lot about this admin we had once where, she didn't have a lot of creative writing skills, and she was the admin for our team. And like every listing, no matter whether it had this characteristic or not, every listing had just amazing natural light. And I had to talk to this admin, like, listen, we're going to have to mix it up. And the way we can make this easier on ourselves is to interview these sellers. Blake, got something?
Which that was a really popular thing. She was just copying what all the other agents at the time were saying.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was, so when I came into the industry, you did kind of have to get creative with those things. And that was very difficult, but now it's easy. Like I wrote my description with Chat GBT for my West Blockton listing. And I did I do know the seller questionnaire because we have used it for a while. And I do know that some people are they're not going to give you the back and forth on it. So I'll just interview them with it and I'll type it into Chat GBT right there with some things and it'll boom, boom, boom. Hey, does this look right? And she loved it. And Chat GBT can get you done pretty quick.
Yeah, you can find examples of our seller interview blogs that I've written and posted on Boomtown. Just click on blog, scroll down far enough, and you'll find some examples. But Blake's absolutely right. A lot of agents aren't using Chat GPT, and I think there's a Chat GPT training by Lab Coat Agents or something like that today. But like you can, let's say the seller, we're doing this interview, right? And they're like, wow, a real estate agent's never really taken the time to do a deep dive on what's important to me and what's important to me about my home and what are the biggest wow factors and what I feel like are the biggest selling points and all that stuff. So this is really like super unique and super valuable. But they're creating leverage for us, right? Because they're essentially writing the MLS remarks for us. They're writing the blogs for us, but they're giving us all this great information, but we still may struggle. Okay. It's like one of the things Blake has said that creates his anti-social media mindset is that the content's not the problem. It's a lot of times it's the text, it's the description of the content that he struggles with. Well, Chat GPT solves that problem. So you get all the information from your seller, you plug it in a Chat GPT, and it's going to crank out a really, really professional sounding blog or listing description or what have you. And what's also beneficial about it is you can take those same remarks, plug it back into Chat GPT and say, hey, I need you to rewrite this into unique content for my YouTube description or this or that. So you're just putting different versions of it out all over the place. So any questions, tell me, just chime in if I haven't created enough. Well, I may not have created enough benefit around blogging because a lot of agents don't understand, like when you write a blog, like where does it go and what does it do? All right. So just forget about that and just, are there any other questions about what we've talked about so far before I move into more of the benefit of the blogging and how it can serve us?
Can't Chat GBT write you a blog that you just copy and paste too?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, you just like you plug it in, it writes and it rewrites. It writes and it rewrites. So, like, and this is why I say this, like Google, you need to understand that Google owns YouTube. Okay. And when you publish a blog, the blog can be picked up by a search engine, by Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever, if the content of that blog matches the search criteria of the users of that blog, of that search engine. Okay, so if I'm writing a blog on a specific subdivision, a specific community event, lifestyle feature, new restaurant, whatever, and somebody Googles what are the best restaurants in my city, we have the opportunity to gain an audience with that consumer who may or may not have a real estate need now or in the future. That's the benefit of this. But if we take that blog from our CRM, our Boomtown, our Real Geeks or wherever, and we use the exact same verbiage in our YouTube description, we're gonna lose points, okay? Because Google and everything it owns loves fresh baked bread. But what I can do is I can use it as my Facebook description and then take it right over to the blog. But as soon as I take it to the blog, and I know I need to also take it to YouTube, I need to get a revision in there somewhere. The numbers that I've seen, and this stuff is fluid, which is why you got to constantly be keeping a finger on the pulse of it, which I could highly recommend a website. I'm going to put it in the chat. I think it's socialmediatoday.com. Like if you want to know like what's important, and this is another reason why we follow the data, right? So does anybody know what's the most important to Facebook right now? Like what kind of content do they want the most? Facebook and Instagram. What do they want most?
Educational content, tutorial content.
But in what form? In a post, a story, or a reel?
Videos.
Yeah, and they want it in a reel. That's why like
the reels.
So like when I'm posting, does anybody notice this? Like when you're posting a collage of pictures on Facebook, it tells you, oh, that'd make a great reel.
Yeah, I did that with a video this past weekend, just a short video of us at the beach, and it popped up, said, hey, you want more engagement? Post this as a reel as well.
Okay, so we have a choice, Sean, right in that moment. We can either make a decision to take that advice or not take it. And I'm telling you to take it. But this is the same thing. It's just so much intentional congruence in our industry where I want you guys to see it. I want you to feel it. Everything feeds everything. Okay? I mean, there's so much commonality here. So many things are kind of intertwined. There's so much synergy here that it's really insane. But follow the data, follow the research, follow the math. Don't overthink. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the experts that are doing all the research. Okay? All right. Questions? All right. So imagine the confidence you would have if you're in a listing presentation. And I've already identified that sellers, whether they vocalize this or not, one of their expectations, okay, and this is why it's really important to discuss expectations in a listing appointment. What are your expectations of me? Here's my expectations of you. This is a two-way street. It's a partnership. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So it's really important to have these discussions. All right. So imagine though that you're in this listing presentation and whether you've asked this question or you just have listed enough properties that you know that this exists, that sellers expect you, whether communicating this expectation or not, they expect you and or your firm to show their property. And if their property sells, now follow me here, if the property sells for the price they want at the terms they want, but you and or your brokerage have not shown the property, that is to your detriment. They are not as impressed with you. They're not as motivated to refer you to others as they would have been if you and or your brokerage, a member of your brokerage, had shown that listing. So let's say I'm sitting in a listing appointment and I know that through the process of blogging that I can create leads. I can drive leads into my sales funnel, which is going to give me the opportunity to convert those leads through phone calls, text messages, emails, video text. I'm telling you guys, like if you have a lead, this talking point right now, this tip is your price of admission. If you get nothing else out of the call today, this will change your business. If you have any leads that are ghosting you right now, send them a video text, 15, 30 seconds, 30 seconds like max. Send it. All right. And if they don't respond, then you can probably just put them in trash. Okay. Video texting is where it's at. And sadly, we may get to a point where texting and video texting really supersedes the phone call, which I know just is going to, Blake hates me for saying that now, but we may be getting to that point. Okay. So I'm sitting in a listing presentation and I understand the power of blogging. I understand that when consumers are starting the real estate purchasing process, they go to Zillow. They go to Zillow like 14 months in advance, 18 months in advance. I mean, they go to Zillow early, okay? But when it gets closer to the time where they want to start being active, like actively pursuing a purchase, then they go to the search engines and they start researching. I mean, this is exactly what we did, what Diana and I did when we moved to Birmingham, okay? When we were first kicking around the idea, we went to Zillow. When we started getting way more serious about this decision, then we went to the search engines and we started researching neighborhoods. We started researching things to do, all that stuff. And that's where you can really get some good leads. All right. When you get a lead from Google, Yahoo, Bing, it's more motivated than a Facebook lead. It's more motivated, obviously, than somebody going to Zillow 12 to 14 months before they're going to be ready to purchase. But if I know how to create those leads, and more importantly, because creating them is, I mean, if you deploy blogs and social media content and develop a YouTube channel like I'm desperately trying to get y'all to do, which is a very exhausting process, okay? You know, your life is just going to change. The leads are going to come in. The skill, the art form is the conversion, which is why you need to get, in addition to this weekly call, you need to schedule one-on-ones with me, and then you need to be on Blake's script call. It happens 2 mornings a week because you need to learn how to talk to people, okay? But if I'm in a listing appointment and I know, I mean, just imagine the swagger I'm going to have and saying like, listen, I know most agents you interview are probably going to be relying on other agents to sell your property. But Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am prepared and I have the expertise and the knowledge and the skills to get you the price you want, the terms you want, without having to rely on other agents to sell your property. I know how to create opportunities, create leads, create prospects for my listings. So here comes the synergy I'm talking about, the intentional congruence I'm talking about, because that just helped us seal the deal for this listing. But the listing has given us bait to attract more opportunities. And listen, some of these leads, and Blake can speak to this probably better than anybody. Some of these leads have been in our databases for 5 years, 7 years. Like I was going through Boomtown yesterday, like a mad person. I was searching every I went category by category, looking specifically at my return visitors, and was just like, you know, grinning and smiling, you know, because I'd be looking at these leads. I'm like, gosh, dang. Like we've never been able to get this lead on the phone. They've never replied to an e-alert, an email, a text, nothing. And they've been in the system 7 years. And now they're finally, something has happened. They're finally motivated to buy or sell. So would you like to have those opportunities? Like, I'm playing the long game here, and this is another issue that real estate agents have that really frustrates me, is that it's all instant gratification. So if a lead doesn't answer the phone, or if a lead doesn't engage with us after anywhere from 6 to 7 to 15 attempts, we just like, they're junk. There's no value in this lead. But what I'm telling you is 7 years from now, and if you plan on being in the real estate business 7 years from now, 7 years from now, they may raise their hand and go, you know what, I'm actually ready to buy or sell. That's a pipeline. That's how you build a predictable business. That's how you stop the feast or famine roller coaster cycle. That's how you stop. All right, questions. We're running out of time here. Why you guys if anybody has a question, just real quick.
Quick question on Boomtown.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see who's writing the blogs, but can we write our own blogs in Boomtown, or do we have to like submit it or something?
No, 100%. So there's just a back end feature. There's a checkbox that needs to be checked. So if you are unable to do that, you'll go under. Hold on, let me just do it real quick so I can tell you exactly how to do it, where to find it. But I think, let's see, let me log out real quick. They've changed this around a little bit, because there used to actually be a specific blog tab, and now you need to go to tools, and under tools you'll see customized website.
Not there for me. That's where the issue is.
All right, so Sean, just send me a text or a Facebook message, because there's other boxes in there too. There's well, it's not under tools, it's under marketing. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it is.
Customize your website is also under tools. So you can have a custom homepage image for your website. You can customize the homepage of your website, that's especially important if you have a team. All right, listen, we're out of time. Here's what I want to leave you with, okay? So some of you need to start engaging with me offline, off of these calls, and saying, hey, I got specific questions about blogging. Let's find something on that list you want to start. Some of you may be more, kind of motivated to start with a YouTube channel, which I would be a fan of, as opposed to blogging. But as I've made a very strong case for the marketing questionnaire and blogging as a great way for you to get the listing and sell the listing, because you are actually marketing emotion. Okay, so logic makes people think. Emotion makes them act. See that? So that's research. I'm just following the research. So if emotion makes people act, then I need to have very emotional marketing that I'm deploying to attract prospective buyers and sellers for my listings. Get it? DeanofHustle.com. Let's get the one-on-one schedule. Let's start deep diving. That's how we're going to accelerate this. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so I use other lead sources also, and then when I kind of input them sometimes into Boomtown, like they'll pop up that the lead's already put in there, I guess from a different agent.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So Boomtown only allows one unique email address. This is a great question, by the way. One unique email address per entry into the system. Okay. So when you encounter that roadblock, you have a couple options. Okay. So option one is, I have a mantra where I just believe in this wholeheartedly, that may the best agent win. May the best agent for the job win. And that may be you, Chris. It may not be. But here's the options. You go to your lead and you say, hey, do you have an alternate email address? So if they're providing a work email, get a personal email. If they don't have a work email, they just have a personal email and that email's already in the system, get their husband's email address, or just tell them to go to Gmail and create a new email address specifically for this home search. Okay, that's option one. Option two is you reach out to me, reach out to Blake. You can reach out to the Birmingham people would want to reach out to Blake. The coastal people would want to reach out to Hannah. So all three of us have admin status with Boomtown, so we can look up any lead we want to in the system. So Chris, you contact me and say, hey, see what agent has this lead assigned to them and see whether there's any engagement or any relationship there. So that lead may be in somebody's trash folder. And if they're in somebody's trash folder, then for whatever reason they were not able to connect with that person, then I'll just transfer them immediately to you, or Blake will do it, or Hannah will do it.
A lot of times it is that too.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll look and if they're not in trash, there's just no communication, or there hasn't been communication in months, many months, or many years, and no questions asked. I just fire that lead over into your database.
Okay.
Got it? All right, I got to run. Just interact with me, email me, call me, text me, schedule appointments. Great call today. Really appreciate the engagement. See y'all next week.
Bye.